In the summer of 1947, a Bedouin shepherd threw a stone into a cave near the Dead Sea. The sound that came back changed everything we thought we knew about ancient knowledge inside those caves. Scrolls that had been hidden for 2,000 years, and one of them, the Book of Enoch, a text so dangerous that it was deliberately removed from your Bible. But here's what they don't tell you in church. Enoch doesn't describe religion, it describes technology. And I'm going to prove it to you, right now, in ways that will make you question everything you see on your screen, everything in your pocket, and everything they're building in Silicon Valley. Because what if I told you that the angels in Enoch weren't teaching prayer, they were teaching engineering? What if the magic they condemned was actually advanced science? And what if the technology we're developing right now is the exact same technology that destroyed the world before the flood? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Elon Musk's Neuralink, why OpenAI's ChatGPT, why CRISPR gene editing are all described in a 2,300-year-old manuscript, and you'll understand why they hid this book from you. Let me ask you something. When you think of fallen angels, what comes to mind? Demons, spiritual beings, evil forces trying to tempt humanity. That's what they want you to think. But the Book of Enoch, preserved by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, referenced by the Apostle Jude, quoted in the Dead Sea Scrolls, tells a very different story. Chapter 6 begins with something specific, not vague, not metaphorical, specific. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful daughters, and the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them. Now, most churches stop there. They say, see, it's about lust, about sin, about spiritual corruption, but they're missing the entire point, because what happens next is where the real story begins. These beings, called the Watchers, the Gregorian Hebrew, and they don't just descend to earth for romance. They descend with a plan. Enoch chapter 7, verse 1, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. But notice the word, defile, not marry, not love, defile, as in alter, corrupt, modify. And here's where it gets interesting, because immediately after this, the text doesn't describe worship. It describes instruction. Chapter 8, verse 1. And Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, metalworking, weapons manufacturing, military technology. But it doesn't stop there. Verse 2, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, mining, refining, industrial processes. This isn't mythology. This is a technical manual. And then, verse 3 describes something even more disturbing, something that sounds strangely modern, but we're not going to look at those specific words yet. Here's what nobody talks about. The Book of Enoch doesn't just list one or two technologies. It lists a complete curriculum. Think about that for a moment. If these were just evil spirits, why would they need to teach anything? Demons don't need to educate. They tempt, they deceive, they destroy. But teaching requires knowledge, systematic knowledge, transferable knowledge, applied knowledge. And Enoch chapter 8 reads like a university course catalogue from a civilization we're not supposed to know about. The text describes different watchers, each specializing in different fields. Azazel handles metallurgy and weapons, but another watcher teaches something that sounds innocent until you understand what it really means. He teaches humanity about modification, the alteration of appearance, the science of making things seem different than they are. And when you read the specific words used, when you see what this angelic knowledge actually describes, you realize this isn't ancient, this is current, because what they taught wasn't just makeup. It was the science of deception, the technology of transformation, the protocols for making the natural appear supernatural. And another watcher, his specialty was even more disturbing. He taught what the text calls the cutting of roots, the use of plants, the mixing of substances. Now, in ancient Hebrew and Greek, there's a word for this practice. Pharmakia, you know that word, don't you? We still use it today. Pharmacy, pharmaceutical. But in the ancient context, pharmakia didn't just mean medicine. It meant the use of substances to alter consciousness, to change perception, to access what normal human beings were never meant to access, and there's more. Another watcher taught the observation of patterns, the reading of signs, what we today call data analysis, predictive algorithms, surveillance systems. But we're not going to look at those specific words yet, because first, you need to understand why this knowledge was forbidden, why it was hidden, and why the punishment for teaching it was so absolute that God himself had to reset the entire planet. Now we're going to look at the exact words, the ones they don't want you to connect. Enoch chapter 8 verse 1. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them. Stop. Read that again. The metals of the earth and the art of working them. What are we building right now with metals? Robots, artificial intelligence hardware, neural implants, the same materials, the same processes, just with modern names. But here's where it gets darker. Verse 2, and there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Now, most readers think fornication means sexual sin, but in Hebrew, the word used here is zena, which means mixing, combining things that should remain separate, like human DNA and animal DNA, like biological intelligence and artificial intelligence, like the natural human genome and synthetic modifications. That's not fornication. That's hybridization. And Enoch is specific about the result. Chapter 7, verse 2. And the women became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, the Nephilim, hybrid beings, part human, part something else. Now ask yourself, what is Elon Musk's Neuralink doing? Creating a hybrid, part human brain, part machine intelligence. What is CRISPR doing? Creating hybrids, edited genomes, modified humans. We just don't call them Nephilim anymore. We call them enhanced. But it gets worse, much worse, because Enoch describes what another watcher taught. Chapter 8, verse 3. Semjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Now, the word translated as enchantments in the original Ge'ez and Hebrew is kesem, which means the use of signs and patterns to predict and control outcomes. You know what we call that today? Algorithms, machine learning, predictive analytics, the exact same concept, just with server farms instead of stone circles. And root cuttings? The Hebrew word is shorsh, meaning the fundamental structure, the base code, the genetic root. We call it DNA editing, gene therapy, synthetic biology. It's the same knowledge, just repackaged for a generation that forgot where it came from. But here's the verse that changes everything, the one they never preach on Sunday. Enoch chapter 8, verse 3. Armoros taught the resolving of enchantments. Barakijal taught astrology. Kokabel taught the constellations. Ezekiel taught the knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel taught the signs of the earth. Shamsiel taught the signs of the sun. And Sariel taught the course of the moon. Do you see it? Every single one is a form of data collection, pattern recognition, system analysis. Weather satellites, that's knowledge of the clouds. GPS navigation, that's signs of the earth. Astronomical observation, that's the course of the moon. The watchers weren't teaching magic, they were teaching science, applied technology, systematic observation, data-driven control. And here's the part that should terrify you. The punishment for this knowledge wasn't just death. It was total annihilation, the flood, the complete reset of human civilization, because God looked at what humanity had become with this angelic knowledge. And he said, Genesis 6:5, the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, not sometimes evil, not occasionally corrupted. Every intention, only evil, continually. What kind of technology, not what kind of knowledge, could corrupt humanity so completely that God himself had to wipe the slate clean? The answer is in your pocket right now. Let me show you something. In 1956, at Dartmouth College, a group of scientists gathered for a conference. The topic, artificial intelligence. The goal? To create machines that could think, learn, evolve, without human intervention. One of the founders, John McCarthy, said something remarkable. Every aspect of learning, or any other feature of intelligence, can be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. Read that again. Simulate, not create intelligence, simulate it. Just like the Watchers didn't create technology, they transferred it from one realm to another. Now, fast forward to 2015, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, they create OpenAI. The mission statement? To ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. Sounds noble, right? Until you read the next part. If AGI is built by a single entity, it could lead to catastrophic consequences. Catastrophic, their word, not mine, because they know that this technology, once unleashed, cannot be controlled, just like the knowledge in Enoch. Once taught, it spreads. It multiplies. It evolves. And here's the connection nobody makes. In 2016, Elon Musk founded another company, Neuralink. The goal? To create a neural lace, a direct interface between human consciousness and artificial intelligence. In his own words, if you can't beat the AI, join it. Hybridization. The merging of human and non-human intelligence. The exact same concept, described in Enoch 7:2. The Watchers came down. They went in unto the daughters of men. They created hybrids. And what did God say about those hybrids? Genesis 6:3. My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. Because once you modify the human, once you merge it with something non-human, it's no longer human, it's something else. And whatever that something else is, God's spirit will not dwell in it. Think about that for a moment. Right now, in 2025, we have CRISPR gene editing, allowing us to modify human DNA, Neuralink brain implants, allowing us to merge with AI, synthetic biology, allowing us to create new life forms, artificial intelligence, that can now write, create, and deceive better than humans. We're not approaching the line. We've crossed it. And just like in the days of Noah, every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. What are we using this technology for? Warfare, surveillance, manipulation, control, the exact same applications that the Watchers taught. And just like then, we think we're advancing, we think we're evolving, we think we're becoming gods. But Enoch chapter 10 describes what happens next, and we're not ready for it. Now, I need you to understand something. This isn't just ancient history. This isn't just theology. This is about you right now in 2025. Every day, you interact with this technology. You use AI assistance. You scroll through algorithmically curated content. You allow facial recognition to unlock your phone. You trust predictive text to finish your sentences. And with every interaction, you're being trained not to use the technology, but to depend on it, to trust it more than your own judgment, to believe that the machine knows you better than you know yourself. Sound familiar? Genesis 3:5. You will be like God, knowing good and evil. The original temptation. The promise that technology, that knowledge would make us divine. But here's what the serpent didn't say. Knowing good and evil doesn't make you good. It makes you responsible. And humanity has never handled that responsibility well. Enoch saw it. The Watchers gave humanity fire, and humanity used it to forge weapons. They gave humanity knowledge, and humanity used it to create destruction. They gave humanity technology, and humanity used it to build Babel, a tower, not to reach God, but to reach independence from God, to prove we don't need him. And what did God do? Genesis 11:6-7. The Lord said, Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Stop. Read that again. Nothing will be impossible for them. That's not a compliment, that's a warning. Because when humanity has no limits, when technology has no boundary, when we can do anything, we lose the one thing that makes us human: humility, the recognition that we are not gods, that we are stewards, not creators. And when we forget that, God has to intervene, just like he did at Babel, just like he did in the flood, and just like he will do again, because the pattern is clear. Humanity receives knowledge, humanity misuses knowledge, humanity faces judgment, and then a remnant is preserved. Noah, 8 people out of millions. That's the ratio. When humanity crosses the line, only a remnant survives. So the question is, are you part of that remnant, or are you building the tower? Here's what I need you to understand. The technology isn't the problem. Knowledge isn't evil. Fire can warm your home or burn it down. AI can cure diseases or create bioweapons. Gene editing can eliminate suffering or create nightmares. The technology is neutral, but the source, the intent, the direction, that's where the danger lies. And Enoch's warning is clear. When knowledge comes from beings who have abandoned their original purpose, who have rebelled against divine order, who seek to elevate themselves above God, that knowledge, no matter how advanced, no matter how beneficial it appears, will always lead to destruction because it's built on a foundation of rebellion, and rebellion always ends the same way. Enoch chapter 10, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go, bind Semjaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, to have defiled themselves with them, in all their uncleanness, binding. Imprisonment, judgment, not just for the watchers, but for their knowledge, their technology, their legacy. And here's the part that should make you think. We're in 2025. Revelation 12:12 says, Woe to the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. Short, not long short. And what do you do when time is short? You accelerate, you push harder. You deploy everything you have, every weapon, every technology, every deception. Because if you're going to lose, you want to take as many people down with you as possible. And the technology we're developing right now, the AI that writes better than humans, the implants that merge mind and machine, the genetic modifications that alter what it means to be human, these aren't progress. They're the same playbook, the same knowledge, the same rebellion, just with better marketing. And the question is, will we make the same mistake? Will we take the fruit? Will we build the tower? Will we create the hybrids? Or will we remember what happened last time? Because Enoch isn't just a warning, it's a pattern, and patterns repeat. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you use ChatGPT, ask yourself, who taught us to build this? The next time you see gene editing in the news, ask yourself, where did this knowledge come from? The next time someone promises that technology will make us like gods, remember, you've heard that before. In a garden, long ago, and it didn't end well. But here's the good news. Noah knew the flood was coming, and he prepared. Not by building weapons, not by gathering technology, but by building an ark, a refuge, a place where the remnant could survive. So the question isn't, is this the same technology from Enoch? The question is, are you building an ark, or are you building Babel? Because one leads to preservation, and the other leads to judgment. The choice, as always, is yours. But there's something else in Enoch, something we haven't talked about yet, a second technology, a hidden protocol that the Watchers taught in secret, something so dangerous that Enoch chapter 9 says, the archangels themselves had to intervene. We're going to explore that in the next video. Until then, the journey continues, the mystery deepens, and the truth is closer than you think.